The severely decomposed corpse of 19-year-old Logan Halstead, a sufferer of spina bifida, has been discovered stuffed in a freezer in the backyard of his parents' previous home. The body was reported to police October the 11th after the new homeowners came across the unworking freezer, which was covered in blankets and tarps, in the backyard of their new home. They called authorities, and the deceased Logan Halstead's parents, Michael Halstead, 44 years of age, and Karen Halstead, 43 years of age, have since both been charged with abuse of a corpse, and they're both being held on bonds of $175,000 each. This happened in Headland, Alabama, and I'm going to comment very briefly on the bonds. $175,000 each. The parents are believed to have not only abused the corpse of their 19-year-old son, sufferer of spina bifida, Logan Halstead, but it's quite possible that they were both involved in the murder, perhaps manslaughter, of Logan. Yet they're being held on just a fairly minor $175,000 bond each. Alabama authorities, why would you allow that? Why wouldn't you just lock these guys up for good, or rather up until the time that they face trial? $175,000 is of course a large amount of money, but in most states in America you have to pay approximately 10, perhaps 20% of the bond. So we're looking at $17,500, perhaps $35,000, and they walk free for the time being up until their trial. Why would you risk that? Just give them $1 million bond so that they don't have the opportunity to get out prior to trial. We're told that the children have twins, which are now in Child Protective Services, so Alabama got that part right. How did Logan end up in the freezer? Well, we don't know the full details. The article is saying that it's believed that Michael Halstead, the father, had a manic episode of which he doesn't remember too many specifics, and somehow Logan's body ended up in the freezer. Was he alive when he was put in the freezer? We don't know. Was he dead when he was put in the freezer? I would presume so, but we're not told how it's believed that he died. Perhaps it's too early to know that at this point, but I would hope and pray that the medical examiners, those responsible for performing an autopsy, will find the facts before long. The father, Michael Halstead, is saying that the mother, Karen Halstead, didn't know anything about it. She didn't know about it at all. Logan was there one day, he wasn't the next. She had no idea. Well, if that's the case, why is she also being charged with abuse of a corpse? Again, we don't know too many details at this point, but it seems to me that the police believe that she did have at least some level of involvement in the disposing of Logan's body. She knew about it. We're told that the parents were renting the home in Alabama, and they left in late August. The new owners of the home came across the freezer. They tried to move it, but it was too heavy, so they opened it, at which point they discovered the severely decomposed body of the victim, 19-year-old Logan Halstead. Police were called. The parents were subsequently arrested and charged, again, with abuse of a corpse. We're told that further charges may be laid against both of these scumbags. Let's hope they are. But seemingly it's too early to give any indication as to whether or not murder charges will be laid against the parents. My speculation is Logan was murdered by Michael Halstead, his father, perhaps with the involvement of the mother, Karen Halstead. But I would think that he was murdered. How, we don't know. But if he died due to an accident or due to natural causes or anything like that, anything other than a murder or anything other than manslaughter, why would the parents act in this way? Why would they stuff his body into an unworking freezer and then flee the scene, flee the home, leave the home, go and move somewhere else as if this didn't happen? Why would they do that? I have to think that a murder was committed and they try to get away with it. But frankly, there are still question marks. They didn't do a very good job at getting away with it. They left Logan's body there to be discovered at a later point. They'd moved away, but only around 50 miles away. They'd be easily traceable. If it was murder or manslaughter, why didn't they dispose of the body more readily? Perhaps burn his body, perhaps dump it in a river, something along those lines. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to advise anybody how to dispose of a body. I'm just questioning the details here. It doesn't really add up 100%. I think it's likely that the parents did commit murder or manslaughter against Logan Halstead, but they did a very, very poor job of hiding his body. They managed to hide his body for a few months, but it was inevitable that his body would be discovered before long. Any other murder that I come across, the attempts to dispose of the body are more definitive. So I don't know. Of course, full condolences to all of the family and friends of the victim, Logan Halstead, perhaps with the notable exception of his parents. A sufferer of spina bifida, deceased at the age of 19, perhaps at the hands of his own parents, discovered stuffed in a decomposed state inside of an unworking freezer in the backyard of a property that his parents rented, but then they left the home. They left him there. Not in a grave, in an unworking freezer covered in blankets and tarps. For the the new homeowners to discover unwittingly. There they are moving into their new home. They try to move the freezer. It's too heavy. They open it up. Oh my God. Terrible, terrible situation. Again, we don't know too many facts at this point. There's a bit of speculation going on here. I am disappointed with what I consider to be a low bond for each of the parents, $175,000, but perhaps that's reflective of the only charges which have been made at this point in time, which is abuse of a corpse. Perhaps as and when further charges are laid against the parents, be that manslaughter, murder, whatever it happens to be, perhaps that's the time when the bonds are significantly increased, which I would think would be the right thing to do, because Alabama does not need these two freaks walking the streets. Again, there are other children involved. They have twins. We're not told the twins' ages, but we are told that they have been moved into child protective services. That's a good thing. Not the ideal situation, but better than being parented by these two scumbags. So let's hope and pray that the twins are able to get over this. It's going to be hugely damaging. It's going to take a huge emotional toll on them. They've lost their elder brother, Logan Halstead. Perhaps they'll never get to see their parents again. So it's a terrible situation for the twins. I'm going to wrap things up at this point. If you appreciate the coverage, please do like, comment, subscribe, share the video as you see fit. If you're in a position to consider joining my memberships, please do consider that, but it's okay if you can't. I'm going to thank you for your time and take care.